El Clasico. Who won more matches, Real Madrid or Barcelona? Trophies, team records, and personal achievements make football super interesting, but rivalry takes it to a whole new level. The most spectacular rivalry in club football is that of Barcelona versus Real Madrid. This encounter, known as El Clasico, is always filled with bitterness and acrimonious rivalry, characterized by deep-seated animosity, intense hatred, and an unyielding desire to emerge victorious at all costs. Don't be fooled by the pre-game handshake and the inscription that the game is entertainment. El Clasico is a pure rivalry. Right from the first clash 121 years ago, the rivalry has grown in leaps and bounds with 252 games played, of which Madrid has won on 101 occasions, Barca won 97, and 52 clashes ended in a draw. Just before we dive into history, the 21st century itself is filled with moments that give us nostalgic feelings. No El Clasico fan will ever forget November 2005. 18 years ago, Ronaldinho got a standing ovation from the home fans after a dominant display at Santiago Bernabeu. It's like striving in the land of the adversary. Ronaldinho did the impossible. From the beginning to the end, it was horror for 20-year-old Sergio Ramos and other Madrid defenders as Ronaldinho tore them apart, scoring 2 goals with Madrid losing 3-0 at home to their arch-rival. At that, something amazing began inside the Bernabeu. Initially one by one, but soon in larger groups, fans rose to their feet and began applauding the man who was tearing their side apart. Only one previous Barcelona player, Diego Maradona, had ever received such an honor. In 2017, another Argentine, Lionel Messi, turned up another amazing moment at Bernabeu. The game was 2 down until the last minute before Lionel Messi scored a last-minute goal to put Barca ahead on hostile ground. It was also Messi's 500th career goal, and the talisman celebrated it right in front of the Madrid fans, displaying his name with the back of his shirt facing the angry Madrid fans. Bow to the king. Shining against Madrid is customary to Messi. He scored his first career hat-trick against Madrid at just 19 years in a tightly contested El Clasico game in the 2006-2007 season. Throughout this 21st century, El Clasico has been filled with several dramatic moments. The 2011 Champions League semi-final El Clasico game was one of the fiercest, partly because it was a European Cup game and one game into the final, and secondly because of the sideline drama that had Mourinho dismissed from the game. Again, 2 beautiful goals from Lionel Messi settled the game, plus the sideline drama and the usual heated moments that made the game look like a war would set this game apart amidst the several other Clasico clashes of the 21st century. The previous year, Barcelona had also produced a moment to remember by beating Real Madrid 5-0 in the title race. Real Madrid was ahead with 1 point, and fans tuned in expecting a tight game. Barcelona's tiki-taka generation whipped Madrid 5-0 to go top of the La Liga table, where they remained till the end of the season. However, the 2014 La Liga clash remained the greatest Clasico clash of the 21st century and probably one of the greatest of all time. Exactly, we are committed to bringing you the latest moments from the beautiful game, so subscribe and on the notification so that you don't miss out. Back to the game featured Messi and Ronaldo importing their rivalry into the El Clasico game. Ronaldo scored. Messi responded with a hat-trick, a late winner, 3 penalties awarded, and as usual a sending off. This game had it all. The game was fierce from the onset, and both teams were tied at 3 until the 84th minute, before Lionel Messi took the glory again and scored the 4th to win the game for Barcelona. As a standalone game, this tie stands out amidst several of their clashes, and as well crystallized long rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid. The rivalry of El Clasico dates back to over 100 years ago when the two sides first met. FC Barcelona was founded in 1899, and Real Madrid 3 years later in 1902. May 13, 1902, 121 years ago, Barca appeared in Madrid to start off what would become the greatest rivalry in world football. It was in the semi-final of the Copa coronation, organized to celebrate the crowning of 16-year-old Alfonso XIII, and the first ever football competition that involved teams from different parts of Spain. Although the first El Clasico of many, Barcelona did not take it as a real threat, as their main target was to shut out Athletic Bilbao, who were parading themselves as the best team in Spain. Barca had 2 years more experience in competitive football than the newly formed Real Madrid, and were considered too strong for Madrid. Barca was expected to win cheaply, but things turned difficult when Arthur Johnson scored for Madrid to record the first El Clasico goal. However, the favorites turned it around and completed a 3 one comeback with Steinberg scoring twice to put Barcelona in front, and Henry Morris scoring from the penalty spot to win Barcelona the first ever El Clasico. Barcelona won the first ever El Clasico, but as years went by, things took a U-turn, and Madrid began to take a dominant stature in consequent El Clasico games. On the 13th of June 1943, Real Madrid handed Barcelona their biggest El Clasico loss and joint biggest loss in the history of the club. 3 years earlier, Sevilla had beaten Barcelona 11-1 in the 1940 La Liga. It was an unusual outing for Barcelona, who scored first in the 10th minute of the game, before Sevilla started shipping lots of goals into the Barcelona net from the 23rd minute. And by the 83rd minute, they had flooded Barcelona's net with 11 goals. Real Madrid took the same pattern 3 years later and humiliated their arch-rival with 11-1, such that is enough for Barcelona's 10 players and 1 goalkeeper. It was the 1943 Copa del Generalissimo semi-finals. Barcelona had won the first leg 3-0. And were looking good to qualify for the final game. Madrid players and the fans complained bitterly about all 3 goals scored by Barcelona and claimed that the goals shouldn't have stood. So on the day of the second leg, the Madrid fans were ready for Barcelona. The Barcelona team were insulted and stones were thrown at their bus as soon as they left their hotel. Barcelona's striker Mariano Gonçalves said of the incident, "5 minutes before the game had started, our penalty area was already full of coins." Barcelona goalkeeper Luis Miro rarely approached his line. When he did, he was armed with stones. As Barça defender, Francisco Calvet told the story, they were shouting "Reds! Separatists!" A bottle just missed Barcelona striker, Jaume Sospedra, that would have killed him if it had hit him. It was all set up. Real Madrid scored 2 goals within 30 minutes, and the third goal came with the sending off of Barcelona's Benito Garcia after he made a tackle that Calvet reported as a completely normal tackle. Madrid's José Corona recalled that it was at that point that Barcelona got totally destabilized and demoralized, so Madrid just went on scoring as many as they wanted. They scored in minutes 31, 33, 35, 39, 43, and 44, as well as 2 goals that got ruled out for offside. Juan Samaranch, a Spanish sports administrator, claimed that even if Barcelona did not play at all, the scoreboard would still not have reached that astronomical figure. It's safe to say Madrid only stopped scoring when they wanted, and that was after 11 goals. After the encounter, both clubs were fined 2,500 pesetas by the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and although Barcelona appealed, the damage was already done. La Prensa, a Match Report newspaper, described Barcelona's only goal as a reminder that there was a team there who knew how to play football, explaining that if they had not scored the goal that afternoon, it was not exactly their fault. Another newspaper named the scoreline as absurd as it was abnormal. Barcelona's reserve goalkeeper, Fernando Arguilla, exclaimed that there was no rivalry, not at least until that game. Football writer Sid Lowe gave his opinion of the unfortunate event. He said, "There have been relatively scanty references to that game since, and it is not a result that has been proudly celebrated in Madrid. In fact, the 11-1 occupies a far more prominent place in Barcelona's memory. This game was the game that began the identification of Madrid as the team of the dictator and Barcelona as its victims. History has not shown Barcelona the favor of scoring as many goals against Real Madrid. The highest they have scored against their arch-rival was 7 goals in a game that ended 7-2 on September 24, 1950. Historically, the rivalry between Barcelona and Madrid was not football-generated. The rivalry is embedded in a deep-seated political rivalry between Catalan and Madrid, such that the elections to the club's presidents have been strongly politicized. As a result, football and on-pitch rivalry only reflect the actual political conflict. In fact, it looks almost like a taboo to find a player to play for both teams, and while some players have gone ahead to do that, the aftermath is often brutal. This reminds us of the experience of Luis Figo, who is otherwise referred to by Barça fans as the traitor. Although Figo was not the only player to have switched between the two teams. Gheorghe Hagi, arguably the best Romanian footballer in history, wore Madrid jersey between 1990 and 1992, and later picked up the Barça jersey between 1994 and 1996. Also, Michel Laudrup, the best Danish player of all time, arrived in Barcelona in 1989 to join Johan Cruyff's dream team and stayed in Barcelona until 1994. Real Madrid brought him in after his departure from their eternal rivals and kept him in their ranks from 1994 to 1996. Another big name is 2 times Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldo Nazario. He joined Barcelona from PSV in the 1996-1997 season. After a few seasons at Inter, Florentino Perez signed him for Real Madrid in the 2002-2003 season, where he stayed until the 2006-2007 season. Julen Lopetegui, Luis Enrique, Samuel Eto'o, and Javier Saviola were other big names to have played for both the Los Blancos and the Catalan giant. Figo's experience stood out as one of the most controversial transfers in football history. It was seen as treachery and betrayal because Figo was Barcelona's star and club captain, and a few weeks before he left, he had denied any of such rumors and claimed it would not happen. So the transfer came as a shock, disappointment, and betrayal of loyalty. On returning to Barcelona for the El Clasico at Camp Nou that season, the fans came for him. It was a 90-minute chorus of hatred directed at just one man on an extraordinary rain-soaked evening in the Catalan capital. Barcelona supporters are holding up placards with dollar signs, a whiskey bottle becomes embedded in the pitch, officials in raincoats are holding back supporters in the front row, lighters, coins, and plastic bottles are hurling down from the stands, and then a pig's head is launched towards the Portuguese forward. Francesc Arnau, a member of Barcelona's squad that evening, tells CNN Sport, "Never have I heard the Camp Nou with this sound against one person. The people, I think, in that game think that they don't play against Real Madrid. They play against Luis Figo. It was unbelievable. The best atmosphere against Real Madrid. Players go and players come, but El Clasico never fails to deliver ultimate excitement. That's precisely why it's the most watched football rivalry game in the world." The overall head-to-head record of meetings between the teams has been extremely tight, with Real Madrid having hit a century of successes, boasting bragging rights in competitive outings, while Barca gets the edge when exhibition games are added to the pot. There have been 185 La Liga meetings with Madrid winning 77 games and Barca winning 73, while 35 games ended in a draw. In Copa del Rey, Barcelona have won 16 of 36 meetings, Madrid won 12, and 8 ended in a draw. The Champions League has the least meetings with both teams having only met 8 times. Madrid won the most games with 3 wins and 3 draws while Barca won 2. Both teams have also met 23 times across other competitions, and Madrid won 9. Barca won 8, while 6 ended in a draw. Aside from competitive games, there have been 34 meetings with Barca emerging winners of 20 games, drawing 10, and Madrid winning only 4 times. Regarding trophy cabinets, Barca have the overall most trophies of 97, 6 more than their arch-rival. For individual honors, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo stand at the center stage of this debate when they both played for Barcelona and Real Madrid respectively. Meanwhile, along with other players, Madrid and Barcelona have produced 12 Ballon d'Or winners over the years. As expected, Lionel Messi, with 26 goals, owns the record for most El Clasico goals, while Alfredo Di Stefano and Cristiano Ronaldo, who both played for Real Madrid, have a joint record of 18 goals behind Messi. A Barca player, Sergio Busquets, also owns the record for the player with the most appearances in El Clasico games, with 46 appearances and still counting, while current PSG teammates Lionel Messi and Sergio Ramos, who were former players for Barcelona and Real Madrid, respectively jointly hold second-place record of 45 appearances each. 121 years have gone since the first meeting, and the rivalry between Barca and Madrid grows fresh with every meeting. Generations who were not there at Genesis have also taken their place in the rivalry and written their path in history. It's the greatest rivalry of men's football in the world, and we are yet to see anything like it. Who do you think has the greater opportunity to win the next El Clasico game? We will join the debate in the comment section.